Hello everyone and welcome back. So here is a speed build for Brave's Castle. Now as you can see, I already did the kitchen just a little bit, just the basics. I will be furnishing the rest. So right here I am doing the dining room. I'm kind of remembering the movie Brave and trying to figure out like what kind of flooring they had in their dining room, and I think that's the closest that I could get. Um, Obviously, I feel like it's the right color. I even feel like the table and chairs are about right too. Like that color of brown is just perfect. Looks like it would definitely be in the realm of like the Scottish Vikings. So here I am right here trying to figure out like what exactly to put on this wall. Now, I put that first one on originally, but I wasn't sure if it was exactly what it would look like or if it would even match very well, especially with the flooring. So as you can see, I kind of played with it for a little bit um, and ultimately decided to put it on the opposing wall so that the wall in the entertainment room could also be that way. So I kind of went with that look of just having like wood on the bottom and like some tan paint on the top. I am going through the clutter and putting a few things in the dining room on what I think I might like. And originally, I was looking for that little piece right there because I was actually trying to, I wanted to put it in that corner because it would, in the corner in the dining room, it seemed to me like something that maybe they would have in there for storage. I also really like these. They came with the cats and dogs pack, and I absolutely love them. Just like I love these little things from the kitchen pack. I think it fits perfectly with their design of the kitchen. Um, so here I am right here trying to put up these little things and figuring out where I want things, whether I want this or that, or I really wanted those. Um, they're just like a olive oil container thing. I just really wasn't sure what I was going to do with them, so I ended up putting them in that other corner. I do end up changing this whole dining room around because to me it did look a little too cluttered. Um, but that's okay. You'll end up seeing how it doesn't end up as cluttered when it's over. I do want to try and find like some bottles of wine. So as you can see right here, I have two, but I will delete the one on the right. Obviously, I don't want like two boats or anything like that. I just was like, oh my goodness, there are so many options. I wasn't sure like where to begin, where to put things, and but I did want it to seem like a home that was owned by people in that are around that era. So you'll see me kind of move those pictures around quite a bit. I don't think they end up staying in here. I believe they go into the entertainment room. Now this house did take me about 3 days to build total. I had to do a couple of breaks and I had to go and do a visit with my kids and things like that. So not all of it was put together, but that is fine with me. At least I finally got it finished. I was debating on I was frustrated because I wasn't getting Snow White and her first house with her stepmother and David. Like I was having such a hard time trying to get that. So that's why I ended up jumping to this because I was like, you know what, I need a castle. So that's why I started um, putting things up in here because as soon as I saw the picture that I was going after and that I really liked of a small castle that's in Scotland. It was exactly what I could see Brave and her family living in. And to me, I just thought it fit so perfectly. So I finally found those round curtains and I decided I was going to put those in as well as those black ones. There is a shelf that I end up putting up in that window that's in the kitchen. And surprising enough, I put it in there just to kind of set it in there and I'd figure out a place for it later. And when I came back in and I saw where I had put it, I just loved it. Oh yeah, the crown. The crown that is sitting on top of that hat rack is um, Fergus's crown because obviously they made him the king, as they stated in the movie Brave, that a bunch of those masters liked Fergus because they brought them together instead of them acting out and fighting with each other. Fergus brought peace to the land, so that's why they made him their king. Um, so here I'm kind of figuring out whether I want to put these pans up or not. In the end, I do not end up keeping them in there just because to me it just seemed like it was too cluttered. Plus, I figured that I had the pans on the wall right there, so I wasn't going to go ahead and have it up there twice, I guess. So I do end up deleting them in the end. I do look around for a little bit just because I'm trying to figure out like what else to put in the kitchen as like flutter, um, or what I call fluff. I'm fluffing it up because I'm not exactly sure what I'm putting in it. Um, I do move those fish right there, and I do believe I keep them there. There's um, that little shelf, and you'll see me. I'll move it up towards the window, and then I'm just like, oh, that works out perfect. Exactly kind of where I would want it to be. It just, I don't know, it'll fit perfect once you see that. I did want it to be like an old-fashioned kitchen, but obviously this is not an off the grid. It is on the grid, so I figured, you know what? We've got triplet boys in here and they're toddlers. So let's have like a popcorn maker and some ice cream, and why not make it up a little bit? So that I end up going ahead and doing that. So and just to make it a little bit more fun, I'm still discovering so many things with all these packs since I bought them, and here is where I'm kind of deciding, like, on my other screen, what am I gonna do? I was searching up pictures and things of what Merida's castle actually looked like, as well as inside. Now I know that they have Mortu, the very big bear. Um, And now I'm realizing that they have a big wooden bear that's in the outdoor retreat that I completely forgot about. That would have been really cool to put in the dining room in that one corner. Dang it, I wish I would have realized that now. Um, anyway, this house is up on the gallery. Everything is tested. Everything works perfectly. I have Brave up as well with her family. Um, I wanted to let you guys know that I actually did want to have you guys help me create some of the princes, and even if you want to like create some of the princesses' homes, like obviously Brave is done, Snow White is done. Maybe like where the fairy godmother lives with 7 princes. Because that's kind of what I'm going to do, is have the fairy godmother is going to be the one that's going to raise all the princes. So if you guys want to create, I need all kinds of princes. I don't care like what they look like or anything. Except for, of course, like Prince Eric for Ariel, Prince Philip for Aurora, Obviously, Prince Charming for Snow White doesn't actually have a name, so you guys are more than welcome to just call him Prince Charming, or you can just make up a name for him. Just make sure that when you post it up on the hashtag simile, SimLiee DLC. So that's Disneyland DLC. Disneyland content. Just so that I know I'm going to be keeping track of all these so that I can get the princesses and everything. I'm going to get them all up and all together. I have already posted Snow White's first episode and what happens there. So make sure that you guys jolt over to my channel and watch that. I was really impressed with it, except for trying to make that pufferfish nigiri, and oh my goodness, she kept making it excellent, and I'm like, no, it's not supposed to be excellent. So I was getting frustrated and mad at her, and she wanted to not be uncomfortable, and I said, no, you're gonna be uncomfortable so that this pufferfish nigiri will suck and kill your husband, which is evil as all can be, but that's okay. That's what I needed it to be. So as you can see here, the dining room is starting to look very crowded. I end up leaving that little thing there and the plants and everything. Those end up staying there. Couple of things you'll see that I'll end up taking down after I start working on the front room. Just because, I don't know, I just thought it was just too crowded for me. It had too much clutter. And it made me almost feel like claustrophobic, even though I wasn't in the room itself. It still made me feel like a hoarder, I guess. I'm hoarding stuff. Okay, so here is the living room. Now, this couch that you see on the right with the pillows and the nice dark brown wood, I thought that was perfect. That is exactly the kind of couch and things that I figured that Elinor and them would have. But trying to find a large couch to match, ugh, I spent 45 minutes trying to figure out what couch would go with it. Because I find the right color of blue, but then the wrong color of wood. And then you see I find the right color of wood, and so I go to try to match the blue instead of red, and the wood gets all messed up. So I kind of fiddled around with it for quite a bit. I was getting so frustrated. I was like, what is going to match with this? Just because there isn't actually a large sofa or chairs that match that, like, at all. There's nothing. Absolutely nothing. It's ridiculous. So I really wasn't sure ended up what I was going to do. I ended up just taking that couch out completely, even though I wanted it in there really super bad. So I do quite a few things on trying to get some entertainment in here. Making sure that there's like a game table, and I remembered when I was looking through some of the pictures that they actually have dogs. And so when I do the first episode, that's when I'll have them adopt a couple of dogs, probably a couple of puppies, just so that they will have their dogs in there. So as you can see, I'm still trying to go through and figure something else out with that couch. So I was thinking about some questions on what you guys might ask me, like, to say about me. When I first started playing The Sims, I was probably about 6 years old when The Sims 1 came out, and that's when I got it for my computer. I lived with my grandma in Utah, and I installed it on the computer, and I was all about trying to get married and have all kinds of kids. So I created my grandmother. I created all of my family members, as many as I could. I moved them in the first cheap lot that had one bed. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is not going to work. So I started placing a bunch of beds on the lawn, which, if you guys know, it doesn't work like that. They have to actually be in a room. And so I was trying to figure out how I was going to do that. So, of course, what did I do? I did the rosebud cheat, which is still an active cheat to this day, which I think is really, it's actually kind of cool. Rose and Motherlode. Motherlode was the other one that I played. And then I ended up building a bunch of houses, which they ended up being so square, but I really wasn't into building at that time, really. Um, I just more or less messed with the houses that were already on that lot. I'd create my boyfriends and I'd have them get together with me, and then when we'd break up, I'd have her kill him. It was awful, but great. I enjoyed it. I still get that way. Oh, look, there is the wishing well. I figured that would be something that I'm gonna put on every princess lot, is that wishing well. So Snow White has one, Merida has one. I do think that they would be that way. So they'll be that way, and I will have each princess, of course, make a wish of like happiness or joy or money or a trade or something. Who knows? Um, you'll see me move that, like these garden things around quite a bit, just because I figured they are going to want to have like fresh vegetables and things like that. That's kind of what I figured the um, mother would like, Eleanor. Um, I just set out a few of the packets. I wasn't going to set them all out just because I know you get quite a few in each packet. So if they need more, of course, I'll put more there. Um, I'm kind of looking around because I was like, I know that there is a swing set somewhere. I just couldn't figure it out. And that's when I moved for them to wash their clothes. I put it over there in the corner of the lot so they could still do it. And man, how many times did I move that uh, monkey bars? I just couldn't figure out a good place to put it. And then I thought it was cool how those chairs rotated, so you'll see me mess with them quite a bit. Um, I also put a bench there so that, they could sit out and watch. The parents could watch the kids. And I also put that one chair out there as well so that Merida could tan out there. Um, I end up keeping that dartboard right there because I figured that would be something that Fergus would definitely do. And I really like the game table. I thought the game table was really, really neat. Um, I was trying to decide whether I actually wanted that little fighting thing, and I ended up putting it outside because I figured Fergus would break a window or something if he tried to do it. Um, I was trying to find the tall bookcases. You can see I put one on each side, and the one that's on the right of the door frame, I do end up deleting that one. I just didn't like it. I didn't like how there were two places for it, so you'll see me delete those. They'll both be deleted. I couldn't find the right chair. I think I end up putting that one there, the orange one, and then I change it to like bluish gray. I change it quite a few times because I'm trying to figure out like what would be a good thing to put there so that the area wouldn't be so empty there by the door. But I never could figure it out, so later on you'll see me delete those. Here I'm trying to find some lights. that one will get deleted too because I end up not liking it. I love this light, but if you notice when I sized it down, the where the lights were originally stayed there, so I was like, well, never mind. So I ended up putting that other chandelier up. Um, those are the lanterns that are from Island Living, and I ended up putting the ones from Cats and Dogs. Because I don't know what it is about that one. I just like it. To me, it just seems like it's medieval and like it seems to me like it would be the one that these guys would actually have in their house. So you can see I kind of put them a little bit everywhere, and I take down um, the modern lights so that these off, so it looks more like a place that would be ran under candles, just because during that time frame that's what they had was candles. They actually didn't have electricity. These windows I debated for quite a while. I was debating between these ones, whether I like those or those, and I was debating between the two. So I ended up asking my husband and my son to come and take a look and see which ones they thought. So you can see that I switch them and I say, look, what do you guys think? This one? Should I get these or these? Yeah, they're the same color. And then, so I switched it a couple of times, and then I end up actually taking pictures with my phone of each one and going to show my husband because he was on his game. And I ended up showing him pictures, and he was like, I don't know. I think that we ended up leaving it on these ones, and so I did end up leaving them there. I do end up putting these small ones up in this window just because I do believe that that would be something that Eleanor would have. I actually see Eleanor being the one to be more of a cook. Um, I mean, I kind of debated on different ones, but I really like the way that those looked, and I ended up keeping those that color. Here's where I kind of start debating on whether I like where everything is sitting, whether I want to move the. I spent more time in that dining room, I think, than I did on the entire build itself, just because I kept switching around. Do I want this? Do I want this? I love the fishing hook. I thought it was really, really cool. I thought it'd be perfect. Um, as you can see, that other one I took out, and I ended up putting those lanterns in from um, Outdoor Retreat, and I ended up putting them in the little arch, and I thought that that just fit it perfect. Um, so see, you can see that I kept some of the decorations, but I ended up moving them into the entertainment room instead, so that it wasn't so full and cluttered in there. I kind of spread them out all over so that there was things covering everything. You can see that little red shelf that floats around. That is a custom content shelf. Um, but I only use it to place things on shelves, so you will not see that as custom content. All of this is all sim stuff that has no custom content. So when I'm done with the build, you'll see me actually delete that shelf, just because that's all I use it for, is just to put things where on shelves. So as you can see, I still want to put this shelf somewhere. I haven't quite figured out where I'm going to put it, but I end up putting it in between the two windows there in back of the couch. And I end up decorating it and putting like maybe their mother's or grandmother's urn on top of it. I do end up, so you can see me here moving it just to get to the right height. I do end up switching those candles out too, I think. Maybe not, but I thought I changed them. Um, Here, I'm just kind of figuring out what I want to do with the coverings and like the bathrooms. So you can see I saw the old-fashioned toilet, and I'm like, no, I don't see them as having that. So I just kind of grabbed one and put it there. And I wanted to make sure that this bathroom was decorated really, really cute just because it is the only bathroom, you guys. I'm not sure what I was thinking, but I figured that plumbing would be really hard to get to in this kind of era. Even though I'm almost sure that they'd have outhouses, not actually bathrooms. But I really like the way that this bathroom was set up, and I end up, the shower ends up going where that shelf is at. I end up moving that shelf over by the sink and putting in that shower that's from Outdoor Retreat. Um, I end up putting a shelf up right above the toilet, and that's what I end up using. I'm not sure if I actually left that bucket there or not. I thought I deleted it. Yeah, I did. I deleted it. I initially moved that little cabinet over to put a garbage can in there, but I never did. See, there's the green shelf. I'm kind of deciding where I want it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to put it here above the toilet. So as you can see, I'm putting the stuff that I want on the red shelf so that I can move it over onto that green shelf. It makes it to where um, it's something that I think it was Miss Griffey that shows how to use the shelf to put different contents at the right level. Just because if you use the 9 and the 0 key, they're either floating a couple inches above it or it's actually sitting inside of it. So inside of whatever the thing is sitting on. So that's when I started using the shelf as well. It's actually so much easier to use, you guys, and I totally recommend it. Um, if you guys do want to know where I got it from, I can put it in the description, but you guys just comment and let me know, because otherwise I'm not going to bother just because it's the only thing that I do. And Miss Griffey actually has a tutorial and everything to where you can learn and see how that she does it. I can also show you as soon as I get a little bit better at it. I'm still actually just barely getting used to using it. I think this is the first one I've used. Um, and those dog treats I end up putting in the kitchen next to the stove, I think. That dog does stay there where those books are by the elephant. Those actually that's where I end up putting the urn, because I thought that would be something that they would have in there rather than um, books, just because they already have a bookshelf. But who knows? It could be just me. Um, I like to be able to use this shelf though. It does make it a lot easier to place the clutter, just because that has a lot of spaces on that shelf. So you can put a lot of different things on it, big or small, and be able to move them over onto the shelves without having to take up areas in the shelf. So the stuff that's in there right now, like you can see that one, there's the plants and things that are in the middle. Those are not staying there. Those are just taking up a space right now for the things to snap in. So you can see here, this is where I saw the little cannon. I thought that was so super cool, and I thought that that would be something maybe Fergus would bring home. Um, I decided that I kind of moved the dog a couple of times, but I do end up putting him um, up by the urn because I figured that maybe one of the dogs or whatever that they adopt maybe is one of the grandmother's sons, nephew, aunts, twice removed. Who knows? um, I don't think it was that one that I used. Maybe it was. I don't know. I actually did this build like a little more than a week ago. See, I decided on a couple of things, whether I was going to keep things here or there, or put them wherever, and I ended up changing my mind, putting an extra bunch of flowers there, and trying to figure out what uh, curtain I want there in the bathroom, because I was like, wow, these are so big. They cover the whole window, and I don't know, I guess in my mind I don't see them wanting to cover up the sun. So again, I use these and I go for the blue that matches. And I didn't want everything to be green, like the cabinets and the walls, because there is a blue accent. Um, so here I am upstairs. That is Merida's room where I put the first light. The second one is the twins. Um, and then so I'm deciding on doors to put in these rooms, because right now, as you can see, this is the tallest that it can be. And I do end up changing that because I end up not liking it, I think. Maybe I'm wrong. I know in my mind I was thinking that I was going to lower it. Yeah, I lowered it, and then I was deciding whether I wanted Fergus and this room to be tall or short, because I couldn't remember and I wasn't sure what I wanted. So us women, we're always so indecisive. We just don't know what we want. We have to make up our minds, and sometimes we just can't. Just because we're always trying to make sure we please somebody else instead of what we want. Just like they say the uh, in the Notebook. What do you want? It's not that simple. What do you want? That's exactly how it is, you guys. Exactly how it is. Um, so I do end up keeping this kind of walls in. I end up putting a lighter floor in Merida's room and a darker floor in the twins' room. Um, and each one of them have a closet. So you can see the triplets there in the room on the left. And I do end up moving Merida's to where it's going to be underneath the stairs. So it's not going to be sitting in the same corner. I end up making like a little walkway there, and I end up putting like a bathtub for her there that is just specifically for her, just because I feel like she wants to have things her own way. So as you can see, and I'll even move the triplets thing over one and widen it even a little more, just because I saw that as unnecessary space. So here I'm trying to figure out, like, obviously I am having them do laundry. If you guys do download this and you don't want laundry, you can always delete everything. You don't have to keep them there. Just make sure you delete the wash tub and the clothesline that's outside. So as you can see there, I've made her own little tub, and I'm trying to figure out like a light to put there that she might enjoy, which I do end up keeping it there. Also with some mirrors in the back. I love that furry rug. I was so glad to see that I got that in my packs. I did want yes, I did end up deleting that light because I was going to put um, some lights on those little end tables for her, rather, because I think that she'd rather have it a little bit darker by her bed and lighter towards the window. That's why I see she has that chair, which I do end up putting it back by the where that is right now, that little thing. I was going to keep it there because I figured that would be something that she would have, but I ended up deleting it because I did not see her as being like a preppy press that would sit in front of the mirror for 2 hours. So I do end up putting her chair back there, and I put a lantern up. Um, with a bookshelf, so that'll give her a place to sit. And then you can see I just put those lights there so that she's able to see a little bit to where it's a little bit brighter. I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with that wall, and honestly, I'm not sure I end up doing anything with it. Just because I figured she might want it plain like that. Here is where I'm changing the directions, which I believe is the Alt and the V. Oh, no. It's the comma button. So it's Alt and comma and period that's next to the M. If you use that, you can change the directions of the flooring, which let me tell you what, it makes it so much easier rather than having to have flooring going the wrong way, especially if you want them to match. You can also twist them and do them differently. If you don't want them all to be the same, you can have like lighter and darker and a square or whatever, or alternating like you've seen the checkered flooring that some people have. Here I'm kind of deciding because I figured the dog would be Merida's. I was going to get the boys. Yeah, see, I gave her a guitar too. I figured that Merida would have her dog. I'm not going to have two. I'm going to have one. Just one dog. And it's going to be Merida's. So I try and find a little bed that I can put kind of by her bed that would sleep in the dark or in the room with her. Here I'm trying to find the frogs that would match the bedding. So those rooms were all done. This is where I ended up doing Fergus and Elinor's room, because I figured they would want a room that was at the top to where they could walk out onto the balcony. I'm going to give them a bubble machine. I wanted to give them like that big extravagant bed, but I figured that it would be too fancy for hers. So that's why I ended up just using this one. Just because it was a step down, it wasn't as bad. So yeah. This is where I'm trying to figure out, like, really what do I want in this room? So I was trying to look on my phone to see if I can see pictures of rooms that I might like to put there, or like how I want to decorate it, or really what I want in it, whether I want to do a full-on closet or what I'm gonna do. I found that, and I was so glad that I did. It's got little lights in it, which I thought was really cool. I do end up changing it to gray because I figured the brown was just a little bit too dark. So I do change it to gray, mostly because I was trying to find a dresser that would go with it. Just because I figured that one that's there is just a little too fancy. But at the same time, they are the king and queen of the land. I do try to figure out what to put on the other side of the stairs, but I really wasn't sure what I was going to put there. So I ended up just kind of keeping it simple and not worry too much, because sometimes I do overthink it, and when I start to, everyone knows that if you start to overthink, that's when it's just better not to do anything at all. Because when you overthink, that's when it starts going overboard and not looking like it's supposed to. So you can see I ended up putting a little couch there. I figured that they would have a bookshelf, which I was going to put there. And I believe that I did, and I put like a little candles, yeah. And then I put those candles on the top of the little banister there. in back of the couch so that while they were sitting there, they could. Oh, yeah, I did give Merida that. I wasn't sure if I gave her the thing to meditate. Here's the bubble blower. Of course, I was deciding whether I wanted to have it actually indoors or out. I do end up leaving that little fighting thing up there for him so that he can do that outside on his own balcony. I do end up deleting the chairs, or two of the chairs, and keeping two of them there. And oh my goodness, I love that Pet's lantern. Of course, you can see how some of the things have glitched that are on the outside, but I don't really care too much. It doesn't really bother me. I end up putting lights all over, um, just so that they can see outside when they're outside with their hot tub. Here is where I'm going to start doing some of the landscaping, like where I'm going to put what. Um, Obviously, that's their mailbox and their little garbage can. And I was trying to decide what tree, especially one that wouldn't poke out or poke into the house, because that is something that's a hard thing to do. But I did end up, I switch them around a couple times. I do believe I keep that one though. And then I end up putting like some flowers and things around it. Some of those trees, man, I could not believe how tall they were. But yeah, I put some of the rocks there. My goodness, one of my kitties is like, you guys know that I have 7 baby kitties here. And one of them I am keeping. We have 3 sets of twins. There's a set of calico twins. There's a set of black twins, or like black kitties, twins, boy and a girl, 2 calico girls, and then we have 2 orange tabbies that are both boys, and then we have just the little loner runt, and his name is Mouse, because he seriously is really tiny. But Darby and Narby are the calico twins. Mine's name is Narby. My husband's calico is Darby. Narby is climbing on my leg and it's tickling, especially because she's so tiny. She knows that this is where I sit when I'm doing something on my computer or whatever. That's when she knows she has to be in with me at all times. Anyway, here we are. This is coming to a close. This is obviously the front. You'll kind of see me go through the house a little bit. I'm showing you the kitchen, dining room, entertainment room, hallway, the kids' room, and mom and dad's room. So from here in New Mexico, I wish you guys peace, prosperity, and to have a wonderful day. I love you guys very much, and I will see you guys in the next one. Namaste. Bye.